Why, hello there. I'm Sin. We are in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about a horror romance, or as I like to call it, homance. And that is the book called The Possession of Alba Diaz by Isabel Canas. This is the third book I've read by this author. I'm a fan of how she writes. It's always like very atmospheric, and it just pulls you right in. And so, as the title suggests, it gives you kind of a picture of what the book is about, because it is about this woman named Alba Diaz, and she ends up being possessed. So it takes place in like the 1700s. Alba is going to eventually marry this man named Carlos, and their marriage is going to be a marriage of convenience, which gives her her freedom as opposed to being married off to someone 3 times her age. Because Carlos isn't really into anyone, not interested in being married and all that sort, but in those times and days, it was expected of them. So they decide they'll get married and just, they'll have that friendship and she'll have her freedom, he'll have his freedom. It'll be a good thing. What happens is plague befalls the town that they belong to, and then this plague starts hitting everyone and people start falling out and people just basically start dying. And so the families, Alba's and Carlos's, are like, we got to get out of here. And so they go to Carlos's family's property where they own this silver mine. And the silver mine is supposedly haunted, and there's kind of a weird history to it. The two families also, Alba's family, Carlos's family is indebted to her father and owes him a lot of money. But if this marriage happens, the dad's probably not going to collect on the debt, this, that, and the other. So her parents are kind of trying to discourage this marriage and whatnot. They leave the town they're in, the big city, to get away from plague, and then they go where this silver mine is and on this little property. So everyone goes out there and they move into these houses and in the little town in the area. And there's locals there, and the locals seem to have some strange pagan practices. And when they go there, this priest that is friends with Carlos goes with them, Father Bartolome. So he doesn't really like the pagan practices that the locals have and whatnot. But when they get there, Alba's like, I want to see the mine. Can I go in and check it out? And so she goes in with Carlos, and then she wanders off and starts just getting lost in the mine like an idiot. Why would you do that? But it's almost like she was being led along. And then she starts hearing a baby crying. She goes off the beaten path and is not paying attention, and there's all of a sudden it's dark and she starts to freak out. But then she actually ends up being saved by Carlos's cousin Elias, and he leads her back out, even though she's like, don't you hear the baby? The baby is crying. We have to go get it. We have to go get it. And let me tell you, there's probably no baby down there, girl. So he gets her back out, brings her out. Carlos is pissed because he hates his cousin, and his cousin's got this really seedy history. He's a convict. He was in jail. He had to work in this other mine before. Da 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 da. The family doesn't like him. He's like the black sheep of the family, and there's all this animosity and drama and all that stuff. So it just ups the stakes even more. And of course, what is to happen? But Alba starts to have maybe an attraction to Elias, and Elias might have an attraction to her. But all this weird stuff starts happening to Alba. She starts sleepwalking, and she had sleptwalked when she was a child, so it starts happening again. And she encounters Elias one of these times, and she does not seem to be herself. And he seems to be the only one that's noticing this. No one else is noticing what's going on with her. That's happened, and it slowly progresses until it reaches a threshold where the crap is going to hit the fan. I love the writing of Isabel Canas. She spins a story like a freaking web, and there's all these different threads. She writes fantastic characters. You just really feel their emotions and what's going on. She gives you a great time and place. It's very atmospheric. It's very descriptive. It is very moody and creepy and spooky and all the things you would want in a good horror romance, of course. So it's going to come to a head where they're going to have to help Alba to not be possessed anymore, because that is bad, and bad things may happen when she's not herself. And when she sleepwalks, she keeps trying to make her way to the mine, and that would probably not work out so well for her either if that were to happen. So as I said, this is the third book that I've read by this author. I think she's very good at putting you in a place, in a time where you feel the things and the environment and all that is going on, and just mines are so creepy too with this one. The claustrophobia, the the darkness, the dripping, the moisture, the stuff that's in there. Like, what else is in there? Other monsters? Then there could be something in there. We don't know. Well, I mean, something possesses her, so obviously something's in there. What is it? Well, if you want to find out, you're going to have to read it. And if you like stories about possession, if you like the mines as a setting, if you like stuff set back in like the 1700s, then The Possession of Alba Diaz might just be for you. And if you like Isabel Canas, definitely check it out. Now, if I were to say in my favorite order of the books of hers I've read, because I've only read 3, I would say The Hacienda is probably my favorite that she's written. But this, I would say, is probably number 2. And then the other, Vampires of El Norte. So, if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.